So till now in the last few lectures, you must have seen that we have discussed about the calculation of foreign currency, the foreign currency rate, the TT buying rate, bill buying rate we have discussed, and in the last previous lecture itself we have discussed about that how to calculate the theoretical aspect about TT selling rate. Now the next portion of the selling rate that you are aware, that is bill selling rate. In this video lecture, we will try to discuss about the theoretical concept that how the bill selling rate is calculated, and we will take up. This was the same concept that we have discussed earlier in the TT buying. Now something has to be taken with respect to bill selling. See what it has been written. Very important. It is in my own language, not a bookish language that you can say. Bill, as you are already aware, it is going to make the involvement. Bill means a document. When transaction involve handling of document or bill by bank, bill selling rate has to be referred. But here, what is happening? What is happening that in selling also, or else in this way you listen, in bill buying rate that we did in the last few lectures, the concept of forward margin was there. And forward margin, I told you, it is nothing but the interest differential between the two banks. Because as the bank is trying to hold the foreign currency for some period, for that some period, the bank may gain or lose. If the bank is gaining, then it will pass the gain to the customer in the form of discount. But for holding the foreign currency, if the bank loses, then it will be passed to the customer in the form of premium. So that was a concept that we have discussed in the last few lectures with respect to bill selling. But here what is happening? That was there in bill buying. And here what is happening in bill selling? That actually the bank is not holding any foreign currency. Customer approached the bank for buying foreign currency. Customer approached the bank for buying foreign currency. Bank approached the interbank. Bank approached the interbank. Bank received the foreign currency from the interbank market, and immediately the bank hand over the foreign currency in the form of instrument to the customer. That means that foreign currency is being purchased by the bank from the interbank market, is not being holded by the bank. It has been immediately paid to the customer. And from that customer, the bank is going to receive the payment in terms of INR. But here, it is not the cash. It will be in terms of document. It may be an import bill. The bank is going to receive the import bill. That means now the bank will have the document and customer will have the foreign currency. So that is why the concept of forward margin will not be applicable. Always remember, the concept of forward margin will not be applicable when it is a case of bill selling. Like I have highlighted also. As foreign currency is immediately purchased from the interbank market, the bank has purchased the foreign currency from the interbank market and delivered to the customer thereafter. It should be thereafter. The question of forward margin do not arise, which is due to interest differential between the two banks, as it was the case in the case of purchase transaction. That means forward margin concept will not be applicable in bill selling. Always remember this thing you have to keep. But bank is holding the document. Bank is holding the document. For that holding, there will be some exchange margin. So for for holding the document, the bank is going to charge some amount, and that will be your exchange margin. So what we have to do, very clearly, what we have done, see how. This will be the table that we have to follow. This is the complete table of TT and bill selling. Both have been shown in one table only. The earlier table which I have shown, that was the TT selling, and this is the combined of TT as well as bill. Like till this point, till from USD, we have discussed, add exchange margin for TT selling, and you will get TT selling rate. Rounding off has not been done. Then whatever the TT selling rate you will receive, on that you will add the exchange margin for bill selling. Again, that means if we are dealing with the case of bill selling, always remember, if we are dealing with the case of bill selling, there will be two exchange margin to be loaded. There will be two exchange margin to be loaded. One exchange margin will be of TT selling, and second exchange margin will be of bill selling. TT exchange margin, TT selling exchange margin will be loaded on the spot rate, and bill selling rate will be loaded on the TT selling rate. That means whatever the TT selling rate we have received, on that we have to load the bill selling rate, and then you get the bill selling rate actual, and then you go for the rounding off in the multiple of 0.0025. In this way you calculate the TT. That means in a single format, if the problem says if the transaction is only of TT selling, then this will be your TT rate, and then you go for the rounding off. But if the problem says about the bill selling, then this will be your TT rate. On that TT rate, you again add the bill selling rate exchange margin, and then you get the bill selling rate, and then you go for rounding off. This will be your complete structure that we have to do. And I hope you have got this structure and the concept also. We were discussing regarding the selling rates, and yesterday we have tried to understand the concept that how the conversion of foreign exchange has to be done in Indian currency with respect to selling transaction. And under the selling transaction, we already discussed that there will be two types of transactions: telegraphic transfer and bill selling rates. That means the concept here has been taken that the customer is approaching the bank for buying the foreign currency. When the customer will buy, the bank has to sell. And as the bank is selling the foreign currency, which is having the value higher than the Indian rupee, automatically the higher currency value transaction will be considered, and that is the selling rate itself. And we have also taken that the bank is going to approach the interbank market, and from the interbank market, bank will take the selling rate, and from that selling rate will become as the base rate, and that base rate will be communicated to the customer along with the loading of the exchange margin. This we have taken up yesterday. So the bank is going to approach the interbank market. Interbank market will give the rate, and that rate will be communicated to the customer. That will be the selling rate after loading the exchange margin. For a better understanding, what we can do, I have tried to make certain points so that it will be easy for you to understand that how the procedure is being followed while the calculation of selling rate has to be there. whatever that we have discussed in the procedure, those procedure itself I have tried to note down in terms of these steps line by line, and automatically you are able to get it. Like the first, the customer approached the bank for buying foreign currency. Bank has to quote the selling rate to the customer against the Indian rupee. The bank will approach the interbank market for buying foreign currency. Interbank market will quote the selling rate to the bank. So interbank selling rate will be the base rate for the bank to be quoted to the customer. Bank will purchase foreign currency from the interbank market and maintain in its nostro account. Bank will issue instrument, that is ADR or JDR, American Depository Receipt, or it can be Global Depository Receipt. Yesterday, the receipt, the instrument that I was talking of the required unit of foreign currency to the customer against the INR. When ADR or GDR will be presented by the customer bank to the foreign currency account of the bank, then bank's nostro account will be debited and the customer account will be credited. All sale transactions are on spot basis. This we have discussed, which I have tried to note down. And as I said yesterday, that we will be taking up the numerical aspect. We will try to take up the numerical aspect. So the concept I have already given, and even you are aware about the tabulation chart also.
So at the end, I suppose you are aware about concept of understanding of TT buying and bill buying. In the next lecture, in the next video, you will see that whatever that we have discussed in the last two videos with respect to TT selling and bill selling, now I will try to take up the calculation part. First of all, we will take up the TT calculation of selling rate, and then the bill selling rate will be calculated. Thank you.